I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Brew?
Here.
Mr. Babalani?
Here.
Dr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Meneghini?
Here.
Mr. Pop?
Can we have a motion to excuse Mr. Pop?
I make a motion, we excuse Mr. Pop.
Support.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mr. Pop? No. Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Approval of agenda, is there any correction or any additions to the agenda? Now we need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of the joint special meeting of June 19th, 2017. And
Well,
the
that's the agenda. First, we're gonna approve the
sorry.
agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Support.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Mr. Meneghini, you know.
I'll make a motion, we approve minutes of the joint special.
Wait, there's a correction on that. Before you do that. On that special meeting, at the bottom, when it said adjourned, it said, the motion was made by Mark and I supported it. I wasn't there for that meeting. You see that under the joint meeting?
You weren't at the meeting, Karen?
No.
There were 2 meetings now. We had 2 meetings.
We had 2.
Yeah.
Was this one from the other night though? Oh, that
No,
one I
this is
wasn't.
the first, this is the first one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I wasn't at that one.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought that was from the other night.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of the joint special meeting of June 19th, 2017, the regular meeting of July 3rd, 2017, and the executive session of July 3rd, 2017.
Support.
Mr. Meneghini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes. Approval of manifest 2017-14 in the amount of $259,915.74. Ms. Brew, any questions?
No, I have no questions.
Mr. Babalani?
Yeah, I have a couple, Doc. On the first page, Ray, under the mayor council, I see we've been cutting a lot of lawns. I'd like to see us offer this to some other residents that are in the city that are in this business, maybe Jim Ball or possibly Beck, to share this. It seems like we're doing quite a few, and not that Milbreath isn't doing a good job, because he is, but I think we should spread it around a little bit like we do for the flowers and stuff like that, business in town.
The question I had is, would it be appropriate for our summer help to do that?
No, we've, well,
You've discussed
you,
that.
you can, we've discussed that, and it, from a timing standpoint and insurance liability, we just, it's actually, better for us, our insurance company has, made that comment, it's better for us to contract it out.
The other one I have, Ray, is on page 4, under the capital projects funds. The tennis court grant, wildlife flowers, there was one there for $450 and one for $456. That's all flowers around the
No,
tennis court?
one was for the material and the other's for the labor, they split it up into 2.
Okay. That's under grant, it says here?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Mr. Meneghini?
Excuse me, one question here, curiosity. First page, halfway down through the police department, on-site repair, Dodge Charger, $500. Do we know what that was, Ray?
I don't, I'll have to pull the bill.
Okay, I just wanted, it said on-site repair, I was kind of curious on that. And the only other thing on a comment, I see our purchase power for June was $65,000, and that's the highest it's been for probably a whole year. We've been down to 15 and 20,000. That's all I have.
Need a motion to approve the manifest?
I make a motion we approve manifest 2017-14 in the amount of $259,915.74.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menigini?
Yes.
Anyone like to appear before council on any agenda item tonight? Please step forward. Otherwise, you'll have a chance at the end of the meeting to comment or question any topic. First thing is appointment of MML Workers' Compensation Fund.
This is something we do every 2 years with the Workers' Comp Fund and every other year with the actual MML board. They have a committee that researches candidates and puts them forward for the membership to vote, and there are 5 incumbents that are seeking renomination. The candidates are in your packet, and you could also, if you have a write-in candidate in mind, you could vote for that at this time. Otherwise, vote for the 5 candidates proposed by the nominating committee.
Just a comment on it, I see nobody's running against them, and we do have one Uper in this group.
We usually have a Uper that sits on that board.
Is there a motion to accept the 5 candidates?
I'll make a motion that the 5 candidates proposed by the MML's nominating committee be endorsed by the City of Norway City Council.
Support.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menigini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Approval of special application event, Tour de Dickinson bike race. We've all seen the map. Do we just need a motion to accept?
Yeah, unless you have any questions, Bob's here tonight, Bob Werner, from the Dickinson County Bike Path Committee, and sure, come on up. He's asking, they're changing the route a little bit this year on the corner of Fernie and 16th, Lower Pine Creek Road, there's going to be a station, so.
August 12th.
Okay.
Yeah, in the past, this is the 11th year of the annual Tour de Dickinson family bike ride. It begins and ends at Pine Mountain and Iron Mountain. Comes through Kingsford, City of Iron Mountain, Brighton Township, City of Norway, Township of Norway, back over to Pine Mountain again. The special request is for a rest stop at Purdy Lane and Pine Creek. Normally, the last 10 years, we've had it at the Norway Springs. But due to the condition of the roadway of Valley View, which is in pretty rough shape for bikers, we'd like to change the route coming down boundary line to Purdy Lane and then over to Pine Creek, and then it will split. It's the 2 of the longest routes that we have 6 different routes. And we're only going to be there for like 3 hours on that Saturday morning. We also have it in conjunction with Italian Fest in Iron Mountain that afternoon, so it's our major fundraiser for us for the Dickinson County Bike Path, and I appreciate your support for us using it right away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
I got one question, Bob. Don't you feel that might be a little small right there, that area? I mean, it's just a little triangle.
Yeah, it's just like a 9x9 canopy tent that we set up with a couple tables, and a little porta potty there. So according to Ray, it should be big enough, right?
Well, I'm sure it'll work out fine, it's just I know there's a lot more room at, by the spring there.
Yeah, but then we'd have to
Yeah.
reroute and then come back again, so it's, try not to change the mileage of the route, because the two longer routes come through here. The longest one is like 64 miles, 100 k's.
See that?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the special event application for Tour de Dickinson bike race.
Support.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I add
Thank
just
you.
one other thing?
Sure.
We applied for a grant from Boss Toro to create single-track paths. So if you need any help in your developing your paths in the city or township, just let us know. We have also 2 members that are IMBA certified to create those trails. So just in case you need any help, just let us know.
What type of paths are you interested in helping with?
Well, the single track is,
Single tracks, it's like, is that, I mean, we worked with Ray before, when we're looking, I know when we're looking for sites up in here, and basically, we hiked it, not really the best as far as what we're looking for, with some of the money and stuff, but any other place, you know, golf course, backwood, anywhere in there, you know, if you've got an area that you think might be an opportunity to look at it.
We have a Parks and Rec meeting on Wednesday night. I mean, that might be a good place to come in and
Yeah,
talk about it.
before looking and
Yeah,
we're currently working one in Little Badwater with Wisconsin Electric, and that goes around Sun's Pond and some other things, and we're getting close to that going. So we're kind of looking at what's next. It'd be nice to be able to find a route down from Marion Park towards Pierce Gorge, but I don't know what right of way there is there. But then that will open up the door for people in Pierce Gorge for us to work with them there. But, you know, we have a lot of guys chomping at the bit to build trails, and if you look at Marquette, you start driving there in the summer, you see our mountain bikes on the back of vehicles going Marquette. So, just gotta get started on it.
Maybe you could supply us with an aerial photo of that area?
we've got a number of aerials, yeah.
Okay.
We looked at.
So look at it and
You
see.
know, anywhere there's an opportunity, let us know, because the one we're working on currently with Wisconsin Electric, once we get our approval, we're gonna build it, we're gonna sign it, we're gonna maintain it, and Township is gonna get a nice little bang for their buck, because it's not gonna cost them anything. Wisconsin Electric's gonna build a parking lot for us, and so it'll be a nice little thing that's coming in here with no cost, and then we already spent all the money for archaeological, mechanical surveys, all this other stuff that they require. Just because they need we had to jump through a lot of hoops.
Sure.
So it's taken quite a bit of time, but other stuff, an opportunity to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ray, can you send me the info on that record?
What's that?
Can you send me the info on that meeting?
Okay.
Thank you.
Next is the USDRD water project pay request. Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, we have, you can see the next 3 items, the pay requests for our project. One is the water project, the second is for the sanitary sewer project, and the third is for the wastewater treatment plant project. We do this on once a month, so it's standard.
Each one has to have a separate vote.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the USDA RD water project pay request in the amount not to exceed $276,000, $473,001.
Support.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes. Next to the RD sanitary sewer pay request project. We have a motion?
I'll make a motion, USDA RD sanitary sewer project pay request not to exceed $311,194.33.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Next is approval of the USDA RD WWTP project pay request.
I make a motion, we approve the USDA-RD WWTP project pay request not to exceed $551,030.51.
Support.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Next is the water sewer project local share pay request.
Yeah, this is the work that we're doing that's outside of the original scope for the water and sewer road project. This is what we call our local share. The council had approved a budget for that, and so contractor is bringing in pay requests for that part of the project.
What avenues are these, Ray, that we're starting to pay for now?
I believe we're still picking up like Railroad Avenue and 7th Avenue. Do you?
I'm not sure, Ray. You know, Terry works that out with Matt, so with those dollars right there, I don't know.
Is there a meeting tomorrow? Is there a meeting tomorrow?
Our next meeting is August 1st.
August 1st, okay.
Yeah,
We got out of sync with the council meetings, so we're only 3 weeks.
There's some concrete ramp repairs. I'm thinking it's down 7th Avenue, because there's concrete repair or concrete work.
I think it was pretty small.
It's pretty small.
Just curious as to where it was, that's all.
We could, you know, if you'd like, the next time around or from now on, we could have a little info on exactly.
Yeah, that'd be appreciated.
Sure, that's not a problem.
I'll make a motion for the water sewer project local share pay request in the amount of $10,791.60.
Support.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Approval Sturgeon Falls hydro fiber installation cabin to plant.
Yeah, this one came up at the last meeting, and council asked me to go out and get another quote for this project. We looked around, you know, for who can handle a fiber installation. There's multiple parts to this. I gave you some additional information on the project. I think Jesse's here from FDS. He can give you some additional explanations. There's quite a bit of equipment and tie-in work. I did not get the price from CCI that they promised. So I don't know if you want to hold this off, but I do know that, Jesse, and I don't know if you wanted to kind of explain the timing of what we were thinking on this project?
We'd like to have the hardware and the fiber in place in time for hookup during the shutdown that's going to coincide with the DC upgrade that's taking place.
The actual fiber installation of this, as I pointed out, was only like $2,000 out of the total amount of the project. So you know, it's kind of the installation of the fiber is kind of a small component of it. The major part of it is tying in with the equipment.
What is the main purpose for doing this?
Why don't you come up and explain, Jesse? I mean, this is kind of out of my technical expertise.
The main purpose is to, I guess, make the network more robust at the hydro, so that you can continue to remotely monitor and control the dam itself from remotely from outside. Right now, you've got a very robust infrastructure throughout the city, but inside the powerhouse itself, it's not robust. It's commercial equipment, and it's not really installed in a very robust manner, and it can be prone to failure, as we've seen actually with recent events. So we want to bring that up to speed, and then also that would allow us to better control to run the alarms over like the water department does.
Basically, when an alarm comes in through the water department, and what we're proposing here is that we'll actually see what the problem is. It's not just an alarm at the plant, that there's actually has information that comes along with the alarm.
Yeah.
So it gives more information when they first see it.
So does that go off of our Wi-Fi then?
Well, it goes through our cable system, yeah.
Now what about today when our cable went out?
Well, this is off the fiber. On the city side, our cable wasn't actually out.
Okay.
Because we have a direct connect link. So if you had a cable modem, the cable modems, I think it was a programming, I don't know again, I don't know the background of what actually happened in the outage, but I do believe there was in the CMTS, there was a card that,
Okay.
that failed, and so they had to replace the card.
Well, because I know you were talking about putting a phone line down there.
Yeah.
What happens if the phone lines go down?
If the phone lines go down, right now, you won't get an alarm that there's an issue at the hydro. It goes over a single piece of equipment called the sensor phone, where the controller just alerts that thing and says, make a call. And it makes a generic call that calls the pager, so that's not over the phone line. Yeah, so right now, that's the only alarming that is set up there.
It'll be different though when you put the new fiber in?
It doesn't have to be, but that's the intention, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the intention is that we bring the alarms through the network and know that the network's going to stay up and running, and then send out alarms that are specific to the event that's taking place. It could reduce your calls depending on,
What
the
it
operator can get an alarm and say, okay, now I can also go look and see what that is that's happening.
And we don't have that right now.
No, you don't have a specific, what the alarm is coming in.
Post you online.
Okay.
Ray, the city supplies the cable down to the hydro?
Well, yeah, there's city cable
It
down
is
there.
city
Yeah,
cable
and
all the way to the hydro.
Yes, and there's a fiber link.
Yeah, that gets down to the lodge, and then there's a fiber currently from the lodge to the powerhouse. And what we need is the equipment in the powerhouse to be more robust as well. Right now, it's Cat 5 cable, and it's laying in the trays with the higher voltage conductors. Not really ready to be in those trays anyways.
Okay. Ray, I guess the numbers here, I've been looking at this worksheet that we have here, and it starts out at $12,756.80. $2,000 is the fiber, and we have $8,596.80. Well, those two total up to be $10,596, like it says on the council packet, but the actual bid was $12,700?
There's actually two separate quotes. There's the $10,596 is the first quote. The $2,160 is for networking. So that's the second one, those together. So what I did was I backed the 2,000 off of
For the fiber, yep, I see
off the
that.
10,000, and just showing you, that would be the first quote.
So
Without the 2,000.
So the actual project is not the $10,596, it's the $12,756.
Correct, and that's what I put in the motion. And I'm just showing you where those two numbers come from. Because in the budget, they're broken up separately too. Because one is at networking and the other is, working with the PLCs and the fiber. And so,
That's the other thing that's going to allow us to do is really move from my office to the calls. I can look in either at my office or like one time in college when we had a problem and I was in California. I can get online and drill right down to that PLC and work with him on site and say, here's what's going on. So we can't do that right now for one. The network is a little slower inside the powerhouse for that, coming in remotely and doing control. And then it they don't have the right IP addresses, and it's not something we can access from, when you guys have the VPNs, the virtual private networks that get put into your networks.
I'm going to put you on the spot now, on a scale of 1 to 5, like a political question. How important is this to our hydroelectric facility? Like, not very important, important, so-so, very, very important, or critical?
Gets a B. It's important.
It's important.
Yeah, it's important.
Not critical, just very important.
It's not critical unless your phone line goes away. Then it becomes pretty critical. Yeah. Or how much do you value the ability to monitor? Like when the network went down during the storm, that was due to lightning taking out an uninterruptible power supply, like you might buy, you know, at Best Buy for your personal computer at home. But when we put in rugged equipment, it won't take that down. So, you know, during that event, if something really bad was going on, that would cost you a lot more money than your power supply. In hindsight, you might say, that was really critical.
Is this system going to require any, like, backup maintenance? I know that, you know, like the computer system and stuff that we have at the city hall here, is that going to be an ongoing maintenance backup? Is there, these problems have to be backed up into something to get recorded, or?
Well, like, no, it'll be the same events that you're having now.
Okay.
And they'll just be, you'll just know about them at the time that they happen. The hardware, in a sense, is piece for piece. What you have now, but what you have now isn't rugged and isn't designed for that environment, so it actually requires more maintenance. So new hardware should require less maintenance, but yes, it will require maintenance. Whenever you put it in our power supply, you need to check the batteries.
But I mean, is it going to be like monthly maintenance? Are we going to have to pay somebody to, like either yourself or GoTech to go and do monthly maintenance on this for like backing up the system or computer, something that, you know, for the calls? Nothing?
No, we don't have that situated right now. No.
Okay. I don't think you're getting kind of what I'm talking about, or are you?
Yeah, does it require a package and a certain bullet point list that needs to be done every
Yes.
month by driving down there and doing these things?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
no. Yes, you are still going to get maintenance, but no, it's not.
A monthly?
It's not going to require more than what you have now. You don't currently have a monthly checklist
Okay.
or anything. Might not be a bad idea at some point, but it's not. It's not part of what you need just for this.
It seems like the systems that we put in, they all seem to need major computer knowledge backup and maintenance, and, you know, if, like Lee said, is it a necessity or not? And it sounds to me like it's pretty damn important.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You have a high-tech system.
Yeah.
You know, your city's heading down a high-tech path. You've got a network that connects everything. You can get oodles of information out of it, and you can use it to reduce troubleshooting efforts. But you're right, it does take skills to do that. It just can't be serviced by, an average journeyman electrician anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Let me see here. I make a motion, we approve the computer, there we go. The GoTech fiber installation at the Sturgeon Hydro for a price not to exceed $12,756.80.
Support.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes. Next, Sturgeon Falls Hydro Unit 4 inspection. Mr. Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On this item, we started to take out the dewater unit number 4 because we need to, per the FERC requirements, we need to do that concrete work on the exterior side of that wall on unit 4 or on the buttress. And since we're taking it out, we'd like to have Myron go in and do inspection. They're finishing up their work on the bridge crane, and we'd like to have them, finish up and do an inspection on number 4.
I'll make a motion for Unit 4 inspection not to exceed $6,000.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Approval of Sturgeon Falls Hydro surge suppression proposal. Mr. Anderson.
Okay, we've had an increased number of issues due to lightning strikes the last few years. And one of the, in an evaluation of this issue, and Jesse, I don't know if you want to come back up for this, but it's basically what happens is your surge protection, which we have, starts wearing out. It's got ceramics, and again, it's not my technical expertise, obviously, but it starts wearing out, and we have to do some work on our surge protection. So you can give them the technical details.
When you install it first up, we have a sensor in the pond, gosh, I don't know, 1,000 feet from the powerhouse, and we lost that sensor. I don't know, a few years ago. It's before I was servicing it, and I think Mike Ball from Energis now installed some small surge suppression out there at that sensor. They're called MOVs, metal oxide varistors. And they, for one, they do wear out over time as they are suppressing strikes, just by the nature of the structure on the inside. However, the real issue is that now we're getting lightning affecting you inside the powerhouse, and there isn't anything installed there. So what you have is this 1,000 feet of wire that's kind of strapped on a metal structure over top of water, and we're getting lightning incidents on the other end of it. So we actually haven't had another failure of the sensor that's out in the water. We'll replace those MOVs. Those are literally $3 is all that suppressor is at that end. But we're going to put some suppression at the other end on the cabling that comes in, and we're going to use some more robust protection, because what it's doing is it's taking out an analog input card on one of the PLCs at roughly $1,000 a hit. I think the last one was a little over $1,000 to have it overnighted here and shipped in, and then we got 2 of the old ones that were bad repaired. And we've since lost another one just in the last few weeks. And in addition to that, since I've been servicing the hydro, we've lost 2 other analog input cards just on unexplainable surges from one unit talking to another unit. It's not on a day of lightning. It's during switching events. When a high voltage breaker switches, you kind of get a voltage spike everywhere, and it's taken out another card. So you could probably use surge suppression everywhere, but it's pricey, so we're going to focus on just these 2 problem issues that have already incurred expense, and it's foreseeable that they'll just keep incurring it if we don't do anything. And all the reading I've been doing, I'm not a lightning expert, but I've done a heck of a lot of reading now and talked to a lot of different manufacturers and some experts out there. It looks like what I propose is the way to go. The hardware doesn't degrade over time, and it uses a few different technologies. I mean, we can get way into the effects of a lightning strike. It has different frequencies and different voltage levels at different time frames of the strike. And the equipment is designed in multiple stages with different types of suppressors that will catch each part of that wave and send it to ground. Whereas the MOVs that are on the one end, they would only catch one part of the wave. So if I'm going to protect the other end and we're having thousands of dollars in failures, I want to use some better stuff.
Sounds like we should get a little better deal on our insurance.
Well,
If we,
lightning is probably covered, right? Or
It is, but we have a $1,000 deductible.
And how many of them cards have we went through? A couple of them for sure, right?
4 since I've been servicing it. Tim said there was at least one right before I started taking care of you.
That's 4 in 1 year? You've been here about a year?
4 in 1 year. Yeah.
Sounds like what we need to do.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for the Sturgeon Falls Hydro Surge Suppression Proposal,
Support.
not to exceed $3,313.
Support.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Number 16 on the agenda, electrical and control system maintenance agreement.
Jesse, you might as well come back up.
I think I have a copy of the agenda.
I think this is your last one.
Yeah, this is it. During the budget phase, we worked with Jesse on, what we needed to look at throughout the year. And then last year, if you remember, we put together a maintenance agreement for him to work with both the electrical and the water. And so this year, we put together this, Jesse put together when he looked at and evaluated the facility, mainly the hydro, what he thought was important activities for us to evaluate and possibly work on. You could do these individually, or you could do portions of them. I thought the best way to get this through is to just go through it with council, with Jesse, and see what is it you want to move forward with. We did do a priority 1 and a priority 2 already, but you can ask him individual questions on critically based on your questions on critical versus, important. I don't think there's anything that falls below important. I think these are all items we've identified as important, but whether they've reached the mass of critical, I guess Jesse would have to answer that.
Well,
We had talked about it in budget. What was the actual number that was?
There was actually 49,000. But what we did was we looked at, because I thought that was a pretty, like Jesse said, robust number. I didn't know if you guys were okay with doing that. So what we did was we thought we'd do it in a couple phases. That was kind of my idea, but, it's totally up to council.
we moved some of them to priority 2. Some of I started off with your safety items that, these are just a couple of incidents that had come up that I didn't know if anyone was investigating them or not, so I put it in the annual plan. I can look at these, I'm a professional engineer, I can do an investigation and say, this is what I found, and it can hold some water. I suppose you might know better. The gallons behind all that stuff.
I like engineers, generally.
Okay. But one is operators that are getting shocked. And I don't know, if you saw this piece of equipment that was installed in the early 1900s, you might say, why are we sending employees out here to stand over a body of water and touch that thing? I didn't want to grab a hold of it. So I'm just investigating what it might take to change that. So there's some time in there. It's not for replacing it, but, either saying, hey, this is all you need to do is fix this, or maybe here's some equipment you might want to look at to replace it with. Then investigation number 2, I was putting this together right when that incident happened, so it may have been followed up on already, signed and sealed, it may still be in progress, I don't know, but if there is something that you've done with batteries and chargers and the use of them at either the hydro, or I believe we're installing a lot more batteries and charging systems to keep more generators up and running. There's something we need to look at here to make sure that we're getting the right equipment, so we don't have a repeat, or was it not even an equipment issue in the first place? You know, that might be something that comes out of that, that I can look into. And some of the other ones were return on investment projects here. But project 1 is the on-demand. I mean, I typically am getting calls probably every couple of weeks. Someone is calling me from either wastewater or from the hydro, and it's nice to have a bank of hours, I guess, for the accounting purposes, or in order to get things fixed in an expedited fashion. So that's just a little pot of hours to draw from. And then project 4, that actually came up, this is water alarm test procedures. That came up last year, over a year ago now. Just when I did some work with the water department, we got their screens showing the right data. They hadn't shown the right data, and they had been fighting with this fluoride alarm for who knows how long. And we kind of fixed that, and I said, well, what other alarms do you have? And somebody programmed this system, somebody invested in a system to monitor everything they have. And they said, we don't really know. I said, well, what alarms do you need, you know? And they said, well, we got this kind of equipment, but it isn't currently something that's well understood or that's being tested annually. So you may have tanks overflowing or something and not be getting alarms for it, or not know that you should be, or not have a procedure in place to go at full floats and expect your phone to ring with a corresponding alarm. And then when it doesn't ring, you know something's wrong and you can fix it right away. Then project 5, pond control. That's, the idea behind that is maximizing what you have, maximizing your power output, I guess, with the lowest amount of operator interference. Right now, the hydro operator can kind of set how much water is going to flow through the hydro and how much is going to spill around it all this year. But with a good guess of what it's going to do to your pond level over the next several hours. And if you can run that margin a little tighter, you can squeeze a little more dollars out of the hydro. And you have somebody who wrote the software to do pond control, but it's just, quote, never worked. So this would be an investigation, go in there, look at it, and get it working. I think you have all the information that you need. You know, you're measuring your pond level and you're controlling the flow through the hydro. You just have to get that well understood and then tune it in so that as the pond level is dropping, you run a little less through the hydro, and as it's going up, you can run a little more through the hydro and keep your pond level optimum, but always be shooting for the most power out.
Jesse, for the 32,000, is that engineering and solving some of the problems? I hear you say fixing some of the stuff, and then I hear you say just engineering some of the stuff, so is that?
Well, regular water alarm test procedures, that'll be done. I think we can get your pond control functioning done. The safety investigations, those are investigations, and I'll prepare a report as a deliverable. Hydro black start, that's a report. I can't get your black start up and running for that amount of budget, but I can get you guys well on your way, I think, and point out what, if there is any other hardware you need. I recently talked to the supplier of the governors at the hydro, and he said, well, those guys are a lot closer than they think. They have governors installed, they have the hardware necessary to rapidly control the generators in order to, you know, create a pump, at least the hydraulic hardware that controls the gates. What I don't know is, do you have a control system there that can establish a frequency, control it, and then make another generator follow the first generator? And that's what I would be investigating.
I guess what I would like to see, by looking at some of these, I would like to know for the next meeting, which ones are going to be completed. The problems, like you said, the pond regulation, you think with the sensors, you can take care of that problem, so that problem would be behind us, and which ones are just engineering. And we are still going to have the problem until we decide we're going to fix it.
It should be in here.
I didn't see it.
FDS will revise the current pond control system to provide the city with a functional pond level controller. Water alarms, FDS will develop simple written procedures for the water operators to follow on a routine schedule. Troubleshooting. Hydro Black starts as the deliverable will be a report of these findings with a budgetary estimate going forward. And then the SCADA alarms is taking those alarms that we can put in once the network is upgraded and preparing specific alarms for the individuals. Sending out text messages including alarm details.
So basically, the first two projects are just the engineering, and the other projects would be completed? Is that what you're saying?
The first safety investigations are just investigations, yeah, engineering reports.
So the first two would just be investigation, and the other projects would be behind us after if we decided we were going to do it?
Project 1 would be a bucket of hours for on-demand troubleshooting. Project 4 and Project 5 would be behind you. Project 7 would be an investigation, a report. And Project 8 here would be behind you, would be done. And I'm only discussing the things that are listed under priority 1 sheet, or sheets. Priority 2, we more or less tabled. So here's what we want to do, but we'll move it off to in the future.
Mr. Anderson, is there any crossover between what Mr. Krause does for us at this time?
Well, there's no crossover. I think this is something that Dave could probably do, but he doesn't usually get down to this level of detail. Is that a fair statement?
I don't know how much he does in the control systems, because he is one of the first people I asked about Hydro Black Start, and I said specifically, what do they need to put back in? And his answer was, I don't know. So maybe he could get there, but I'm more of a control system person, where he's more of a power person.
Yeah, he's power engineering, so it's a different level.
Okay.
The project priority 1 project, on-demand troubleshooting, did you say that would be complete?
No.
I said that is a bucket of hours, so it is complete each time I'm called somewhere.
Okay.
It's probably going to be recurring and all that.
Yeah, okay.
At least it has been over the last 2 years.
He gets called every couple of weeks, and this
Yeah.
would...
But number 4, and number 5, and number 8 would be complete?
Yes.
Okay.
One thing about the two items that, like Project 1 and Project 7, if we were to identify those as critical, important or critical, we would need to have engineering on those to go out and secure the actual final part of getting it solved. So we're probably going to need to do this evaluation at some point. You know, that's...
Yeah, for Hydro Black Start, you could definitely consider my deliverable as an aid to further.
Almost like a
it's
bid
good
spec.
part to a bid package for many engineering firms to say, okay, here's what we found so far. What do you guys think about completing or taking it into a detailed design level and a bid package for contractor installation that can also then go out? That would be a good way to look at it.
On a Black Start, Are you familiar with what we're referring to there? Where if we lose connection with WPPI, that we can actually start the plant. We don't have to have them come online. Yeah.
Didn't we resolve the problem with the batteries though, so why do we have to go through
Well,
that again?
we made a change with the batteries, and we feel that that is a good solution for limiting that, especially the explosion risk. When we did talk to Myosha, we talked about looking at why this happened, and there's a part of an electrical connection, whether it's the trickle charger or the setup, you know, that potentially could have affected the battery. So this is a little different. I mean, we're still hooking the dry cell up to the same system. So this is just taking, I mean, does it have to be done? Probably not, but it's a risk, you know, we don't know what exactly happened, and I think that's what we're asking.
I see the crane project you had in the notes, Ray, that was complete, everything worked out, so we don't have to bank on spending any money on the overhead crane.
Yeah, all the gearing, all of that is now complete.
So, I mean, that expense that we have is behind us,
Yes.
right? Okay. Well, I guess I think we should keep plugging away down there, and being we got the crane problems or potential problems behind us, I think we should go with a lot of this stuff.
Are we done with the crane or no?
Yeah, we're done with the physical work, you know, of the
But
equipment.
it doesn't have to be tested yet, right?
Yeah, we're just starting with Mead and Hunt on the evaluation analysis of it.
Oh, so the evaluation, we could still possibly be spending some money on it then?
Oh, yeah, we're still working on the evaluation.
Oh,
part.
when I said it was complete, I thought you
Oh,
meant that.
no, the physical work of it that Myron was doing, that's complete.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, that's,
I thought that was kind of quick to spend $23,000 on engineering.
no.
So,
How much was the engineering on that?
23.
which seemed like an awful lot to calculate some numbers.
Some engineering firms are really expensive.
Well, I had a conversation with him about this, and since you brought it up, don't really want to get too far into it. But there is a tremendous amount of liability when you're dealing with structural, and there's a tremendous amount of liability when you're dealing with, you know, something that's lifting above people potentially, or at least in that situation. And also, our configuration is not standard. It actually, the way that the powerhouse moves, it actually moves in almost a four-dimensional, you know, it has a curve, and there's been modifications to the structure. So there's a lot of different facets that get involved in making it. It's not just, here's a beam, I'm gonna take my ASD out and I'm gonna start working on the, you know, the calculation. And you're dealing with a 100-plus-year-old system. So it takes quite a bit. I quizzed them pretty hard on it.
Our professional liability policies might not be as expensive as a doctor, but it's still a big chunk of our income.
Yeah, and we are working through the contract discussions that we had at the last meeting, and I think that's gonna go fine. I think Bruce even mentioned it at the last meeting. It's pretty much a standard contract they have, so I don't think they had an issue with us questioning that. So we'll be fine on that end.
I guess what I would like to see is us get through the crane possible potential problems and pick out a couple of the necessities out of here for now, and once we get through that, if we fare okay, then go with some more of these issues.
Did you go through the project proposals with our electrical foreman?
I haven't been through all these in with dollars, no. Our schedules didn't line up. We meant to. back when Ray first got back from the hospital and from his home visit, or he first got back to work and it didn't happen. At least as far as putting dollars to these. And
Is there any
I
of
think
these
the-
projects that need to be done before some of the construction work is being done down there, where it would be cheaper for us now, before Myron pulls out, or any of that? Is there any of these that would save us money if we did them now?
I don't know when Myron is going to be done and they're bringing that unit back online. But pond control would be easier to play with either when you have something that's not quite yet back online, or when you're at low water, which is unforeseeable this year, right? When you have a unit that's off, that would be a great time to be doing that project.
We're gonna be off with Unit 4 now for probably a month, you know, because the concrete work, we're not allowed to have that unit watered up while they're working on it. They're on the outside, but structurally, FERC requires that if we were to put water in, we would have to do a whole structural analysis of the pit and whatnot. So that's why we proposed
Totally
to,
off, though.
yeah, so it's totally off.
Water and start it, doesn't stop it, and
Right.
dry it out.
So I think at least a month.
Out of this list of projects, Jesse, which ones do you think would be the benefit for us to do right away? And then the rest of them we could possibly look at once we get a little further down the line with the hydro.
Yeah, I would look at the shock that guys are getting for sure. On-demand troubleshooting, and I don't know if that just has to come out of the hydro bucket and kind of covers all your areas, but it's nice from an accounting perspective to always be able to charge time to something.
So the $4,000 one, the troubleshooting, you think is a
Definitely.
priority? Which other ones?
Your safety investigation one.
Which one was that? Number 2?
Number one.
Number 1?
Investigation one, yeah.
Ray, did you go over these with electrical foreman?
You know, we talked about these during budget time, but we, like Jesse said, I don't know if you went through the numbers with them, but a number of these items we had talked about.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the numbers, I was just
Yeah.
worried about the work that was gonna be done.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about it during budget time, back and forth. So,
It certainly sounds like we should proceed with project number 5, the pond control, while we're dewatered. Is that the indication I got? Number 1 and number 5.
Number 1, number 5, and
safety number
and
one.
then the safety number 1.
Yeah, and if you are going to do, with the network upgrade, then Project 8 gives me the hours to take the alarms that you currently have in one PLC that all pour into one dial-out system and move them into customized alarms that get called out and display information. That's Project 8 hyperscale alarms.
So if we did the safety one, we did the troubleshooting in the pond, we'd be at $16,600.
I feel that safety investigation number 2 there is really worth doing.
Number 2, that was the one that our safety guy was working on, you said, Ray?
Well, we were working
The safety side?
on the battery side of it. We weren't working on the electrical component side of it. I think that one we could probably hold off. I mean, it's a
Yeah, you guys know more about where that is at this time, so.
You know, I'd like to, you know, I think we need to understand that one, but I think, you know, if you want to phase these, I would probably put that in the number 2 bucket. You know, I think it's important, but it's,
already been looked at.
yeah. I
Ray,
think
what are your feelings on the first safety one for 2200, the troubleshooting, and then the one that Mr. Hayes wanted, the pond control? You think those are a good start for us, or do you think we should meet with Tim and discuss it more?
Well, I think it's a good start. You know, over the next month, you probably, you know, you wouldn't be getting to all of this anyway.
Not over the next month, no.
No, your
This
schedule.
wasn't a plan for over the next year.
No, we need a motion then to accept that
Well-
proposal.
I guess I'll make the motion, we do the safety, number 1, the troubleshooting, the safety one was $2,200, the troubleshooting was $4,000, and then the pond control was $10,400, for a price not to exceed $16,600.
Is there support?
I'll support.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menghini?
Yes.
Mrs. Drew?
Yes?
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Number 17, Resolution 2017-17, Resolution to Proceed Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act. This is only a proposal that we're going to look into it further. The City Council met with the Norway Township and the Planning Board last week, and that was the general agreement that we're going to keep looking at this. And I think we decided to send it to the Planning Board, is that correct, Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, your
If we
passage
pass
of this resolution, then it would start at the planning board, and also we could start the process of
Public
council
hearing.
warrants. But the planning commission would hold, you know, the public hearing, and there's a whole series of activities that they have to go through that includes public involvement. On the council side, there's an enforcement ordinance that we would start looking at, but we'd be kind of waiting on to see what kind of responses from the planning commission that we get.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that resolution 2017-17 be approved.
Support.
Mr. Menghini?
Yes.
Mrs. Drew?
Yes?
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes. That's the agenda for tonight. Does anybody in the audience like to come forward and ask a question or make a comment on any topic? If not, does the council have any comments? Mr. Menegini?
I have nothing.
Mr. Papalani?
Ray, I guess I would like to see us, while we have the summer students, possibly restripe the center line on the main street and the crosswalks. It looks like they're getting a little bit tough. The parking stalls look like they just did those this summer, but the rest of them look pretty rough. Did we have trouble, I know you had a meeting this morning with the supervisors. Did we have a problem with the in the DPW area this weekend, specifically Saturday?
I'm not aware of a problem on Saturday. I know that this morning they were working on a hydrant. There was a
Okay.
leak.
Why would one of the DPW supervisors be in on a Saturday on time and a half riding around? I knew that the Baco crew was not working this weekend, so there was no tie-ins.
I'll have to ask, I don't know.
Okay. What took place with the internet this morning, phone outage?
We had from what I understand, there was a card that went out on our CMTS. So that affects the whole system wide. So
Okay.
they had to replace the card.
Okay. I noticed that there was no DPW report in the packets this time.
Yeah, there should have been.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay, well, I'm hoping that we can get some of this overtime, if it's not necessary, specifically to DPW, under control. That's all I have.
Ms. Brew?
I have nothing.
I was wondering, are the microphones different in this room? They seem a lot louder tonight, or would you do something?
Yes, we have, not Music Tree, Sun North, is it?
Music Tree.
Music Tree. They came and had them come and do just check out the system.
And there was some feedback earlier, I just wondered if that was part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. But yeah, it seems like things are a lot louder. And that's working again, wasn't working, the battery. The back, is it good?
Yeah, that's good.
Hopefully the video will come better.
I was wondering if the Electric Utility Board has met yet?
Yes, we've met already, and we're going to continue to meet. We just went through and discussed the master plan, the projects, the budget. We did meet a week ago, and we talked about some policy issues. We're going to have to meet again, because we're going to be working on the proposals for the hydro. So they're going to help out with that as well.
Have they looked at the electric utility rates? Are we going to offer any type of?
As we were going down through, that has not been hit yet. They're going to look at that. We're going to look at that as we get there.
Okay. Mr. Babalani mentioned the painting on US 2. Again, I'd like to see some kind of demarcation between the trail and the road up on Curry Road. Because right now, when cars go around that corner, they quite often are over in the walking path. I'd like to make a comment that one of our employees' wife is having some medical issues, so we should keep Lorna Flesher in our thoughts and prayers. Mr. Carlson, any comments?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Ray, do you have an update on our possible spring project?
I don't have an update, an up-to-date update. The last that I've heard in our conversations is that we're still trying to work out, moving the whole block without sacrificing. And there's been some engineering hiccup in that discussion. I know in our meeting, when we met with Kleiman and with Coleman, it seemed like that could be proceed, but then they got back to talking, and then now I got to bring that back up to the forefront.
Was there any progress made on possibly trying to secure some historical money for that project?
They've been working on it on the Coleman side, and that, again, I haven't got an update on it.
The DDA will be meeting this Wednesday. Is that going to be on the agenda or not?
The Norway Spring?
Yeah.
I can put it on the agenda. I hadn't put it on there before.
I just wondering what the plans are, because I see we have it budgeted in the DDA.
Yes. Well, I have a whole number of items from engineers that I was going to give to the DDA, and I'll make sure that they give me an update on that one as well, so we can update. So I can have something for you on Wednesday.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any other comments, Mr. Anderson?
I don't.
We need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Dr. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Babalani?
Yes.